as we explore quantum body and beyond, the reality beyond, I think it's important to share with you the mystery of thought. So, according to Vedanta and yogic tradition, what we call thought, which is our internal dialogue, is related to karma, which means past experience and how we interpret the past experience. And then the interpretation of that past experience automatically surfaces as our thought. So the memory of a past experience and how we interpret it leads to thought. Memory also leads to desire and imagination, which recycles again as thought. So all thoughts are either memories or imagination, and they are a result of the interpretation of experience. And that's why our physical body is called the conceptual or karmic body, because it mirrors what's happening as a thought process. And thoughts are entangled, as you know, with sensations, images, and feelings and imagination. So our senses, according to current science, provide raw data, but then our minds actively organize and interpret that data to make sense of the world. We categorize, we compare, we analyze, we apply learned frameworks to understand experiences. This interpretation actually serves our memories, emotions, and future actions. And it's not a linear process. Experience and thought constantly interact and influence each other. Our expectations and pre-existing thoughts, obviously, can unconsciously influence how we perceive and interpret experiences. And conversely, new experiences can challenge and reshape our thoughts and beliefs. So, most of our thoughts are the recycling of the cultural and social mind. They significantly impact our thoughts, the language, the culture, the social milieu. Through language, education, socialization, shared experiences, we internalize ideas and perspectives of our environment. These become lenses through which we think and process information. But it's not merely a passive recycling. We actively engage with these influences, environmental and social influences, sometimes choosing to accept, adapt, and even reject them. So individual experiences, critical thinking, personal values play a role in shaping our unique thought patterns. The level of cultural and social influence can vary between individuals and cultures. People with diverse backgrounds or independent thinking styles might show less adherence to dominant social narratives. Okay, so all this process creates an inner landscape of emotions, instincts, unconscious biases that shape our thoughts. These elements sometimes are difficult to access and analyze, but they obviously contribute to the thinking process. Now, having said this, let us look at the Vedantic perspective, which says go to the quantum level to access the most evolutionary thoughts. So, in Vedanta, in a particular text called what is it called? Saraswati Sutra Darshana. Saraswati is the goddess language, and Sutra, of course, means suture, the loom, the web of entanglement. And so in Saraswati Sutra Darshana, there are four stages of thought. I've mentioned this before. Let's go into them a little deeply. The first is called para. This is the most subtle and unmanifest stage of thought, and it's considered pure consciousness, which means infinite possibilities. and it's the seed of all ideas. It exists in the deepest realm of the mind, beyond words and concepts, unmanifest. Superposition of all thoughts. Second stage of thought is pashyanti. In this stage, the seed of thought takes a more specific form, but is still internal and non-verbal. In quantum mechanical terms, I would say it's a cloud of probabilities. It's a mental impression or residue of a memory or residue of a desire. So mental impression could be an image that hasn't yet been formulated into language. So that's the second stage of thought. The third stage of thought is called madhyama. Madhyama. This is the transition state where this thought becomes associated with specific mental sounds and articulations. Words and their meanings start to come together, though still not uttered aloud. So we can say this is the third stage, internal dialogue. And then Vaikhari. This is the final stage where thought manifests as physical sound, which you're hearing right now, is the final stage. It is said, by the way, that once you get to this final stage, you've set the wheel of karma all over again. It's the externalized expression of the thought through spoken language, vocalization, even gestures. So these are the stages of thought. And while these stages aren't strictly philosophical issues, they also resonate with some themes in philosophy, and particularly the non-dual philosophy. For example, the idea of para, the unmanifest thought, first stage, aligns with the concept of Brahman and the ultimate reality, which is the ultimate reality. So the first stage of thought, para, aligns with infinite consciousness. And the final stage, Vaikhari, reflects the manifest world of experience now. Fascinating, isn't it? So now, why is this useful? This is useful because if you want your thoughts to heal yourself, to heal relationships, to heal the ecosystem in which we operate, social, cultural, then it is better if your thoughts come from the deepest level, from the level of para. And therefore, when they come from that deepest level, superposition, infinite possibilities, then they automatically surface from that web of interconnectedness, and therefore they're more aligned with values like empathy, compassion, joy, equanimity, evolution, self-regulation, self-healing, and basically those we can call thoughts coming from the true self instead of the ego self. Anytime we are reactive or in the fight-flight mode, those thoughts are not coming from the deepest level. They're coming from the ego-bound personality, which is, of course, feels separate. So thoughts that come from ego-bound personality are usually, imbued by some anxiety, anticipation, regrets. In other words, the karmic software. But if we go into stillness and ask ourselves questions like, who am I? What do I want? What's my purpose? What am I grateful for? Or even a deeper level, what's the best response to the situation? Then those thoughts come from deep awareness, which we can call the matrix of interbeingness, and they're always evolutionary. So thought is a mystery to most people, but if you practice stillness, meditation, go to the deepest source, ask a question, then the question contains the answer. And the answer comes from the matrix of interbeingness. And the answer leads to the right thought and ultimately to the right speech, which means evolutionary. Nothing right or wrong. Evolutionary comes from not the divided mind, but the whole mind, which is the infinite mind. This little explanation, I hope, will help you solve the mystery of thought and also its connection to karma. Okay, thanks.